already. Alright, I'm just swallowing the food. Hope you like this picture. It's the closest thing I could sort of get.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of has that like twisty turny caverny vibe. So
Yeah. Alright. So, Doc, you made a bit of a boo-boo. Admittedly, you were given somewhat false warning from your god. Well, say somewhat
I
false
was
warning.
given I was given adequate warnings. I interpreted them incorrectly.
Potentially.
Is how I'm viewing this. So I was the idea of planar travel didn't really cross my mind. I've not done it before, so
That's fair. Well, yes, you were given some warning, but deciding to persevere. Obviously, tuned to the spear, were sent to the
oh, I
madness.
successfully attuned to the spear, did I?
Huh? You did, yeah.
Oh, okay. I wasn't aware that I'd done that.
You are now attuned to the spear.
Okay.
Or you were. So you attuned to the spear. You spoke to and appeared in this large cavern and spoke to a black obsidian falcon statue, of which it asked you many questions about your faith and your allegiance to your god and why you thought that you were being chased and harassed. And he basically told you that you and your friends are very chaotic, and this person and others. He never told you who the others were, but this being, this ancient being, was now the new patron of the Black Talons, and decided he didn't like how the world was run. Him and these others don't like how the world is run, and they want a world full of peace and order. They believe themselves to be somewhat what's the word? They think themselves really mighty because they are obviously not living on the material plane, but they want peace and order for the material plane, which is very, very strange. And they were doing this through his champion, the leader of the Black Talons, whom you have just killed and got the spear from. After realizing that, no, you didn't want to give up your allegiance to Apollo, and realizing that if you were to go back and give this spear to a new champion, then bad shit might just happen over again, and denying Kithaniel's pleads to ask to be this champion, you decided instead to survive one day, as you know that in the morrow you can prepare a new set of spells and plane shift your way back.
That's the hope.
That's the hope. So, upon sort of denying his requests, in your hands, the spear was well, technically you still have the spear. You still have the spear. But you feel, being attuned to it, you feel some of its power begin to fade. Obviously, this power was, as Apollo told you, gifted by this Black Falcon person. And now, obviously, not becoming his champion, not doing any of that stuff, the power from the spear fades, and it is now just a very pretty-looking mithril spear, which will probably still fetch a good amount of money, to be fair, especially in dwarven places where mithril is a very sought-after material, or elven places as well, as they quite like mithril. And the winds of these many caverns behind you just slammed into you, and you realize that these winds, you could hear voices in them, all sorts of voices, just like, help me. But, these voices pleading for help, asking you to go places, asking you to do something, asking you to kill Kithaniel, kill yourself, saying, you can even hear, like, asking Kithaniel to kill you. You don't know how these voices know your name, but they do. It's almost like it's almost a trick of the mind, but it's not as well, and you're not quite sure where it's coming from, and it's deafening. And as the winds come in, you are on this sort of grey sand, and it kicks up and blinds you and all sorts. So yeah, what would you like to do? You have caverns behind you. You have this massive statue, as far as you're aware, in front of you. You can't see shit at the minute. What would you like to do?
Um, I want to try and move. So I want to try and like make some headway, like away from this statue. See if this sort of lessens any of the effects or anything like that.
Okie dokie. Make me a survival check. 14. Okay. So you manage to obviously, directional turn around, and you sort of walk into the back wall, and you do manage to find a sort of large opening where it seems like one of these large cavernous tunnels sort of must go back. And you begin pushing down this tunnel. Easy enough with sort of, your natural awareness of where things were before you were in this space. And you begin pushing down the way. Can you make me a perception check? 19. Wow. Okay. Actually, I would say this is, because of the winds and everything, I'm going to say this is a disadvantage because you can't hear a lot of it. 16, that's still pretty good. Okay, to roll the dice. Yeah. So even through the maddening winds and everything that's going on around you, you think you can hear, like through the voices, there's one voice that seems to just be getting louder and louder. And it doesn't sound as whistly and as ethereal as the others. This one sounds very true, very, very real. And you turn around, and suddenly, standing before you is a 7-foot tall elven person. You can see by their complexion they are a male, though they have very sort of dainty features, a pointed chin, a small sort of slight nose, a huge pointed ears, longer than any elf you've seen, and very large beady eyes as well, larger than any elf that you've ever seen. Not that elves in Ambyr particularly have larger eyes, so this is especially strange. Their armor is sort of falling apart, and it looks like it's made from thick, dried leaves that have been sort of placed over them to make a chest piece or cuirass. They do have a blade at their side, but they aren't using it. It's not sort of, it's still sheathed. And what's most interesting is behind them, flapping in the wind as if it's an appendage that they no longer have control of, are these fairly large wings of what looks like, it's like boat wings or pixie wings. And they just flap as if, as I say, as if they have no control of the appendage whatsoever. And you can see that there's two large ones and then two small ones. But one of the small ones is missing, as if it's been ripped off. And you can see a trail of blood just pouring down the back of this person's back and his leg. He's missing one of his shoes. His hair, you can imagine, probably once was very pretty and done up, but it's now just mad, flapping around in the wind. And this person is just pure wide-eyed, even with all this sand and everything coming out of them, no blinking. And they just are running towards you, going, "Help me! Help me! Help me!" But in Elvish. And they are charging towards you. What would you like to do?
I'd like to look around, see if I can find a bit of cover, and try and get behind that, and then essentially try and wave them to the cover as well if I get the sense that they're maybe being chased. So
yeah, okay. So this tunnel, this cavern, if you imagine, it's almost got these grooves. That's the word I was looking for yesterday. I was trying to plan this yesterday and I couldn't think of the word grooves. It's got these grooves in it where you can see that the wind has spiraled around. And so that has made some, places where you can get a little bit of safety from the wind. It's not a whole lot, and you can still hear a lot of the voice, but at the very least, it's not pushing you back so much as you are basically, running through like a gale, or walking through like a gale force wind at this point, stood on sand as well, so it's not helping you in any way. But it's easy to sort of walk through one of these places, and you notice before you've even caught, you're trying to call them over, they're following you, and this person is running, very tiredly running, but running nonetheless, with its arms just flailing back, wings flapping everywhere, just still screaming, "Help me! Help me! Help me!" So you manage to get in this small little, just a little like slight alcove. Imagine it's sort of like a 5 foot sort of bit jutting out of the side. It's a little bit taller than you as well, so
Yeah.
sort of full cover.
Just a bit of a lean-to from the wind.
Yeah, yeah. And this person is still charging towards you. They're still maybe 30 feet away. What would you like to do?
I want to just be on alert, just in case I can see they've got a sword, but they're also injured. Like the blood coming down them. Can I see that that's wet, or is that sort of dried?
That's definitely dried by now.
Okay.
And it's got sand in it, and it's kind of hot. Yeah.
I just want to sort of wait on the ready and for them to get this bit of shelter and just be paying almost more attention to not them, to like the surroundings. Like, is there anything else chasing them or any other dangers that I need to be alert to?
Okay. So this individual runs towards you, and as they come slightly more into focus, you can see that their nails have clearly been... Like, this person seems to be elven of some descent. Maybe a quick Arcana check. Okay. Or nature, either or.
I think they're both the same for me.
Yeah, I assume they're both the same. Intelligence.
That's good for Arcana.
Yeah, so you've never heard of anything like this in your realm, but you do recall when Glinda was talking about, you recalled certain people talking about the Feywild a couple of times. And you know that elves, that's where elves come from. Elves have a very large presence there, but more what people have called in the past true elves. That's, the elves, the high elves and things that you see now are descendants of what are considered to be the true elves of the original elves, anyway. And this definitely looks like them, especially with the sort of leaf, Feywild nature, this leaf sort of armor he's got on and things like that. So he definitely seems to be Fey. And with this information, you know that obviously elves, they like to be quite prim and proper, but this person is definitely not. Their nails have somewhat elongated into almost like claws and different things like that. Eyes, wild hair going everywhere. And as they sort of open their mouth, as they get closer, you can see that some of their teeth have been a little bit sharpened as well. And as they get forward, they're going to try and grapple you. Can you make me a athletics or acrobatics check, please, to try and break it back?
Yeah, athletics. I'm getting some really nice rolls at the moment.
You are, but sadly they rolled a natural 16 with a +2. So sadly, they grapple you. This person just runs up to you, grabs you, shoves you against the wall, and just, "Help me!" and is literally screaming in your face, "Help me!" And you can see, or you can feel that their nails are trying to sort of push beneath your armor and dig into you. It's almost like this person is simultaneously trying to kill you and is screaming for help. You're grappled at the minute. This is theoretically sort of initiative. So if there was anything like that you wanted to, but obviously it's just me and you, so
yeah,
they've essentially had their go as they're pushing towards you. What would you like to do?
I'm just going to try and shove them off again for the moment.
Yeah. Roll another athletics check.
That's okay.
Oh, you got a 9.
No.
7 + 2.
So, 7 plus, not a 9 on the dice. Excellent.
No. 7 + 2. So you managed to, just with this, managed to almost like break their hands off and just give them a heavy sort of push.
Yeah.
And even with this light push, they like just collapse to the ground and roll a really far way back. Like you didn't push them that hard. But they roll sort of really far way back and then get back up again.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to do?
I just want to slowly sort of move towards them with like shield hammer in one hand, but like other hand out, just to be like in almost like raised in like a calming gesture.
Okay.
Move towards them and just
make a persuasion check.
Not good at being persuasive.
Certainly going to be interesting.
Does he say a disadvantage?
I wouldn't say this is a disadvantage.
Okay.
No, I'd say this is just a regular persuasion check. Fine. Yes, this person just charges you again and is actually this time just like swinging out with their what is basically claws.
Yeah.
Is now just going to swing out and try and make 2 attacks against you.
Okay.
The first one is a natural 1.
Nice.
And the second one is only a 15. So the first one swings extremely wide. They almost like lose their balance in the wind. But then the second one just grates against the front of your armor. And it's this really uncomfortable, that's the sound of, like nail on metal, nail on board sound. And they just like push up into you as well, like, over your shield, and they're just screaming in your face, help me, help me. Definitely with a look of, I want to kill you, but with a slight hint of, I'm absolutely mad and don't really know what I want. This is just what I'm doing right now.
Okay. I'm going to try, if they're like right up on me, I'm going to try just a simple cure wounds at first to just see if that sort of calms them down a little bit, if I can try and like touch them and just give them a little bit of healing.
Okay, make me a because obviously it's you trying to touch them, right? So make me like a sleight of hand check to try and just sort of touch them in the... Oh, actually, no. An unarmed strike, I'd say.
Okay.
So strength plus proficiency.
So plus proficiency. Oh, fuck's sake. No.
You go to, almost like slightly putting your hammer away for a second and go to sort of cure wounds. And this person literally bites down on your, like, on your wrist armor. And literally like has your wrist in its hand for a second before you manage to sort of pull it free, or rather they pull free, and you realize a couple of their teeth have gone with your wrist, and they don't even seem to care. It's like they haven't even felt that pain. They're just manically still trying to push towards you.
Okay.
What you'd like to do?
I'm just gonna say to Kithaniel, do you think there's any point in trying to reason with this person?
You can hear, even though he's like right next to you there, he starts to like scream.
Yeah, just like screaming at him.
Yeah. And he's like, get him, what the fuck is this guy? Fucking get him away, get him away.
Okay, then I'm just going to pull the hammer out then and try and hit him full force.
Yeah, go for it. I'll say that sort of obviously cure wounds action, so he would get 2 attacks on you still, but that's nope. Oh, natural 20.
Okay.
These are only with, makeshift claws.
Yeah,
so
no, it makes sense though. I've gone to try and like I've just exposed myself.
Yeah. Or plus 2. So you take 6 slashing damage.
Okay.
But 25 definitely hits.
They're both the same, but I mean I haven't got my shield out yet, so I could do 200, but they're both the same in this instance, so
fair enough.
And then
the radiant
on top.
Ooh, that's not good. Is it this level or next level it goes up to 2d8 for you?
I think that's at 15th level?
I thought it was 14th, but I might be wrong.
I could be wrong. Yeah, I didn't have it on my radar to think about, so I didn't check it. Channel Divinity, Divine Domain, Divine Strike. Oh, it is at 14th level.
Ah!
Sweet.
Another d8. You've basically got Divine Smite.
Divine Strike. There we go.
But
right.
without spending anything.
I'm going to quickly just change that to 2d8 going forwards.
Alright.
That is, that's rolling 2d8 now, so 9 radiant damage, but ignore the 8.
Alright. This is 19 damage overall. Nice, yeah. As you sort of just lift up your hammer, whack, straight across the face, they just go tumbling to the ground, falling. And as you sort of look at them, you realize you've like unhinged their jaw. This person's jaw is now probably broken. Or maybe not broken, but at the very least, very badly damaged. More teeth have come out, there's blood sort of dripping from it. But they're going to get up, and in their frustration, as a pixie person, they're gonna sort of look at you and just scream. You go, ah! And try and cast polymorph on you.
Oh no, that's like a charisma save, isn't it?
I believe it's a wisdom save. Weirdly. Yeah, wisdom saving throw.
Oh, wisdom. Okay, that's much better for me.
Is weird because of wisdom save. Yeah, you're fine as you sort of feel this energy come through, whether it be their spell not taking too much of effect because of the sound not being able to get to you or whatever. You manage to sort of pass off the effect, and then they just sprint at you and just sort of right up against your shield again, just trying to reach over, clamber over for any sort of grasp and just screaming, "Help me! Help me!" It is your go again. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna try and shove him back and just be like, stay still, and I can help you. Like one last attempt at like diplomacy. I'm just gonna try and like shove him back, and just be like, stay still, and I'll help you. And
Okay.
then like back up a little bit away from them as well, if I can manage to like actually make some space and shove them.
Okay, yeah. So shove. Yep, they've. I mean, roll, but I don't think you can. Yeah, they rolled a 2.
Okay.
For a 4. Okay. So yeah, push them back like 5 feet and make a persuasion check.
Just want to I smacked him in the face. I'm not good at persuasion. I'm just like one last attempt at some form of diplomacy.
Okay. So you've screamed this, and as you're sort of like screaming it with a decent bit of desperation now, obviously in an unfamiliar plane and everything, they sort of look at you for a minute and just stop screaming. Help! Help! And it's just this moment. They almost have this moment of recollection where they just sort of stood completely still. Help me! Help! Just stood in the middle of the sands, and they just sit on the sand, just completely like out of it, completely gone. Okay. Rolled a wisdom save, and they did well against your persuasion. So, what would you?
Okay.
What would you like to do?
I want to like edge up, and I'm gonna just try and heal them again, just as a bit more like of a show of faith. Again, just at level 1 for the time being. Where's my cure wounds? There it is. So they get 10 plus level of spells at 1, so they get 11, and I get 3, which is nice.
11, right. Awesome. So you've given them back some hit points, and this has given them a little bit of recollection. Just thank you. Who are you?
My name is Dark. What is your name? And this is Kithaniel as well.
How do you do? My name. What is my? What is? Help me. And you get the impression that they don't fucking know.
Okay. I mean, I'm guessing I've probably got some like rations and stuff on me still. Let's have a look in this inventory.
I would assume that you've been in the capital for a week, so you haven't had to actually use any rations.
I'll try offering them like a little bit of food.
At which point, they sort of look at you. They deny the food, and then they sort of look at your hammer. Help me. And start just tapping your hammer, and then tapping their head. And you go, voices inside. Want out. Want out.
Oh, this is depressing. No,
The plane of madness, buddy.
I know, but friend.
Out. Will you help?
Oh man, I don't want to. I don't want to kill them.
Sensing a hesitation for a second, they sort of look at you and and then just start to try and scamper away, like turning around and just on all fours, just start trying to scamper away. Are you doing anything to stop them, or just?
No, I want to help, but I don't know how at the moment, and I can't pick up every wayward.
Make me a medicine. Yeah.
Well, I think I know how I could help, but I don't have it prepared or the resources to use it at the moment.
What do you think?
I think that Greater Restoration would probably help somewhat, but I don't have it. Again, I don't have it prepared at the moment, and I don't have
26.
I don't have diamonds on me at the moment to use it.
Yeah,
if I did have it prepared.
Yes, your first thought is correct. This form of madness, whatever it is, the madness caused by this place, Greater Restoration could help. It wouldn't be an immediate fix, but it would definitely help. Like, you've heard of, maybe you were taught a little bit about madness, and obviously things like PTSD and all that stuff, and that stuff generally can't just be instantly cured by magic.
No.
But this place seems like the sort of place that would almost like give you both magical madness and real.
Yeah.
Magical madness can be cured by Greater Restoration. If it gets pretty bad, then it can be cured, over time with it, but quicker than real. Maybe Lesser Restoration might give a little bit of aid, might give a little bit of clarity.
Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna like, as they're like doing, I can help you more later. This might help for now. This is all in Elvish. I speak Elvish, so if they're speaking Elvish, and I'll try a Lesser Restoration on them to see if that brings them.
So as they scamper away, you reach out your hand really quick, cast Lesser Restoration, like grabbing them by the ankle and cast it on them, and they just stop. They look around. You. The voices. They go to a whisper. They don't shout. Thank you. And he just almost like on his knees, like a kid on their walking on their knees, runs up to you and just gives you like a massive hug. The nails still grating along your side, and the impact of that sort of one scratch still sort of hurting you a little bit, but he gives you this big old hug, and he's looking at you. I've been here for long times.
It's okay.
Long times. My prince, the trickster. I will kill him.
It's okay. Do you remember your name? I'm speaking, but this is obviously all at a shout.
Yes, this is. Don't you just? Yeah, obviously you scream. Yeah, this is obviously all. Kirabal. Yes, I remember. I name me. That's my name. And he just starts looking off into the distance. And for the first time now, you actually see him blink. And it's kind of horrid, because as you see him blink, his eyelids, these big eyelids, almost start to scrape off the sand.
Poor man.
And he does sort of rub his eyes. He's like, this place. Dark place. Evil place. Why are you here? Get out of here. You know, you have voices?
I hear the voices.
You have voice in there. And he starts poking just the either temple.
Yeah.
I not only one. Others with voices. And sand. Sand bring voices. Voice starts poking Kithaniel in the head. Kithaniel's like, stop. I'm not for poking.
So I just like, we can I hope we can leave here soon. If we stay together, we can leave together.
Stay. Maybe stay.
Stay with me when we leave. The voices, I might be able to make the voices go for good.
Stay, yes. Yes, stay. Yes, stay. And just grabs you by the thing and starts shaking you again. Stay, yes, stay. And then sort of lets you go, realizing he's making you rather uncomfortable. Yes. And he crouches down to about your height and just sort of...
Okay.
Lead.
Okay. I will prepare to lead on. Come on, Kirabol. It's you and me against the world.
Well, I have to admit, I did not expect you to befriend this guy. That is certainly interesting. So, you begin to lead on through this massive, dark tunnel with...
Yeah. I'm kind of I'm trying to find a large, open space. Essentially, is what I'm looking for. Like, if we're in these tunnels, I'm guessing there's not a huge... Like, I think you described them as being quite tall, but...
Yeah.
Maybe like 20 foot by 20 foot. So I'm looking for quite a large open space at the moment.
Yeah. Okay. Make me a investigation check.
I will take that.
Oh, pretty good. Yeah. So you continue sort of around the way, and there's a crossing, sort of large crossing of crossing of these two tunnels, and for sort of most people that wouldn't really realize it, but you sort of do as you feel another breeze come. Well, a breeze come from this one space towards the right one, but it's a breeze less of sand and more of just pure air. So you decide, or rather, sort of from the right to the left, and you think, okay, well, maybe I'll follow this way. And as you sort of get out of this path of this main tunnel you've been following, you can immediately tell that the sand does die down a little bit. So it's not like you're, before you could only see like 5-10 feet in front of you. Now you can see like at least like 30 feet. It's not so bad.
Mm-hmm.
And you go down this space and you're walking for maybe about sort of an hour down this large, long tunnel. And every now and again, you can just hear Kirabol just going, safe, yes, safe. Help me, no, safe. And he's sort of like putting his hands to his head, like, shush.
I want to keep an eye on him, and for the time being, and just feel like, if it seems like he's getting, I've got limited resources, but if it seems like he's getting really bad, like. Maybe if he starts getting bad, I'll put like a firm hand on him just to like sort of guide him and stuff. And
yeah, no, he seems to be sticking to your heels pretty well. Like, definitely sort of almost following in your footsteps a lot of the time, and rather uncomfortably crouching down, so he's about your height now, which is very sort of awkward for him. You can tell, but he doesn't seem to care. He's just following along.
Mm-hmm.
Towards the end of your sort of like trip of this hour, he starts almost having a little bit of recollection, and from his fingers you can just see like these little sparks of almost like arcane energy that he seems to be sparking, and he is just entertaining himself with this for a little while. As you're walking this while, though, you can still hear the howling of the wind and everything going on, and that's still very, very loud. So the sand has cleared up, but the wind definitely hasn't. Can you make me a wisdom and constitution saving throw?
Okay.
This is against madness and deafness.
Yeah,
so
I'm guessing I can't, like, because this is like a constant thing. I'm guessing I can't like cast bless to boost these
No,
saves.
it's a constant
Yeah.
build up.
Okay. Wisdom first is an 18.
18.
Constitution
Stave off
is a
madness,
17.
and you stave off deafness for a little
Cool.
while. So you do eventually, after the few hours, you can feel this stuff sort of rolling on. I will tell you that Kirabol rolled a 19 and a natural 20.
Nice. Good job, Kirabol.
So he's like fine, sort of holding behind you. Actually, I need to roll for Kithaniel as well. This will be interesting.
If only I was a paladin, then I could help everyone around me.
Well, Kithaniel ain't going mad because he too got a natural 20. Why do I never use this dice against you? And a 14 for deafness. Though actually, Kithaniel doesn't need to roll for deafness because he doesn't have ears, so he's fine. Kithaniel ain't going mad anytime soon.
Sweet. Good
And
job.
you continue into this space, and you find that the area, and it's really, really weird because as you're sort of moving along, if you remember I said before, you can feel gravity working a little differently.
Yeah.
As you place your hand on the wall, it's a little bit of a weird sensation where your hand is almost then being pulled towards the wall. And as you're sort of walking around, you realize that as you're walking in this almost like circular tunnel, you're like going up the sides of the wall at one point. You know, it's not like there's like a flat area one bit and then sort of all around. You know, maybe to move out of the way of a stone sticking up, you have to move around. And then you begin to realize, wait.
You look back and you realize that the bit you were walking on previously is now like...
Exactly.
Oh, it's now turned up the wall.
Exactly. It's really weird. And it's like, you know, you don't really feel yourself walking uphill when you're walking to the side or anything like that because, yeah, gravity just works very differently here. Seems to, if you could take a guess, almost works to the inside, to the center of these caverns and tunnels. And you make it into this very large space, this absolutely huge room. So you come to a large cavern opening. It opens up into a huge room that is like a flat disc or donut, which is round with a sort of indentation in the center. So almost, if you imagine like a sort of like blood cell shape almost. So you come out in one of these side bits, and there is almost like a hill up to reach the center. You can't see what is in the center on the ground, but you can see what's in the center on the ceiling, and it looks like a large beam of light from the very center of the room striking down into the center. Make me a quick perception check. 22, nice. So you actually looking at it, you think, wait, that's not... The beam of light seems to be within a almost like glass casing. And as you look at it, even from here, you can see the very tips of this glass casing going up into the ceiling, like roots. And it almost looks like this huge glass tree that's within the center of this room that comes out of the ceiling. And within this glass tree, a huge beam of light. The tree doesn't have any branches. It is just pure, straight sort of trunk. And you can also, from here, without good a perception check, on the ceiling, see figures stood around the base of the tree. And they're moving. They're not moving much, but they are moving somewhat. Ahead of you is a large hill that you imagine leads to the center of this room, where there would be more of this glass tree. Maybe you would see its tip, or maybe you would see its bottom again. You're not quite sure. And around you as well, in this open cavern, are many other tunnels, much like the ones you've come through, which are all accessible because you can walk on the walls and ceilings. They are not walls and ceilings. They are just floor all around. What would you like to do? No.
The figures around the base, they're sort of moving slightly. Are they like moving around, or are they just sort of in place, like, slowly sort of wafting?
In place, yeah, slowly sort of wafting. Maybe not slowly wafting, but they're in place moving. From this, it's quite a distance. This is a massive room. So you're looking easily like, couple of 100 feet away from you.
Okay.
So it's quite hard to see exactly, but they're definitely moving and stood in place.
Okay.
And the light in this room is obviously helping quite a lot, and it's the first time dark vision hasn't really
bright and well lit. Okay.
Or at least it would be in the center around it, sort of dim light. But for you, as a dwarf,
okay.
For a dwarf as well. So, yeah.
Okay. Okay. But all the figures are relatively still, not.
So you can see three.
Okay, three figures, and they're relatively still, not like engaged in a large amount of activity or anything like that.
Nope, they just stood still, moving around the base of the tree.
Okay. And you said I've got like 200 feet of, or like 300 feet of distance between us.
As in, yeah, like a straight line. To obviously get to them, you'll have to walk up the side of the wall and then all the way back around.
Okay.
Sort of
thing. With the space available, would it be fair to consider there to be 120 foot by 120 foot square?
Yeah.
Okay. I would like to try and get Kirabal to like remain sort of in the shadows with me, and I would like to plonk myself down and try and take an hour. I'm going to explain to Kithaniel what I'm going to try and do, so that hopefully he can, if Kirabal gets antsy, he can potentially help to calm him, to not interrupt this. But I'm attempt to cast Temple of the Gods.
Oh, okay.
Which takes an hour.
Takes an hour.
It's
right.
An hour to cast, yes.
Right, okay. So you sit down and prepare. What are there any components or anything?
A holy symbol worth at least 5 gold pieces.
Wow, that's it?
Yes.
Jesus.
Which is not consumed either. So.
Okay, well, yes, I would say your holy symbol, whether that be the one on your fucking hammer or the one around, is definitely worth at least 5 gold pieces. So in this large cavern opening, you sit down and prepare and start to cast Temple of the Gods.
Yeah.
So you're casting this, and you're sort of considered concentrating on casting it for all the while. Okay, I'm gonna roll real quick for Kirabal and could you also roll me another Wisdom and Constitution saving throw?
Okay. Wisdom. 17 Wisdom. 15 Constitution.
15 was what you needed.
I was gonna say it's dropped. They've dropped a little. I've had some really good ones so far, so I can't complain about a 15.
Yeah.
But it's on the cusp of being.
Yeah, I mean you won't go immediately deaf.
No.
There is stages to it, obviously.
Yeah, I figured it was.
With your medical knowledge, you would know that with these winds, you would go deaf for an hour, a day, a week, and then permanently deaf. All of which, all the temporary deafness can be cured by greater restoration. One for like an hour, like lesser restoration. So if theoretically, if you got the first stage of deafness, you could cure yourself of it. But then, full on deafness, that shit would need to be cured by, like regenerate or something to essentially regenerate your eardrums, would be insane. So, but you've managed to sort of stave that off. And you've sort of set like Kithaniel down and Kirabal's like sat down.
Yeah, and I've tried to basically like what I would have said is I'd have explained like exactly what I was going to do to Kithaniel. Like I'm going to try and cast this spell to give us a safe place to stay, and then in like simple terms I'd have kind of said like to Kirabal, I'm going to make us a safe place. It will take me some time.
Safe. Sometime. No, this not safe. We not safe.
I'm going to make a safe place.
Ah, yes.
For us to stay. away
Oh,
from the wind.
wait, voices.
No wind in the safe place.
Oh. And he sits down and just sort of like plonk.
Yeah, just like.
And he's and you play to Kithaniel, sort of looking at him, and
Yeah,
Kithaniel.
and like with instructions like if if things go bad, if things go badly, like warn me so I can try something at least.
Okay. So it's an hour.
Yeah, it's an hour.
Um,
It's a long casting time.
Okay. I'm gonna say roll me a D20 on a 5 or lower. Something might come after you. Or something might happen. 11. So at the very least, through this hour, nothing comes after you.
Okay.
But that fell off the page. About sort of 45 minutes in, you begin to just hear Kithaniel go, Doc, he's... No, stop that. Stop hitting yourself. Stop, Doc. I don't mean to bother you or anything. He's, oh God. And as you're sort of concentrating on the spell, it might just take a sort of brief second to almost just like turn around. And you can see that clearly the lesser restoration is wearing off. The voices are beginning to get to him again. And he's physically taking his nails and he's trying to carve things in the sun.
Oh, Carabal, no.
He has gone fucking mad. He is like, get out. And he's like scratching his head, basically trying to get these voices out.
Okay.
I mean, you could try and leave him to it for the last like 15 minutes of your thing, or you could, and then maybe heal him, or you could go for him now. You're not entirely sure if he'll live that long. You don't know his strength or anything, so
yeah,
it's up to you, my dude.
I'm gonna stop, and I'm gonna cast Lesser Restoration on him again because we've been here we were walking for a few hours. I think you said.
Yeah.
Or like sometime. So I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna cast Lesser Restoration on him again.
Yeah.
Do I lose that spell slot if I don't?
Well, so if you're in the middle of casting a spell, and then I would say no, because you finished casting the spell. It's not like when you're like holding a spell, where you gather up the magical energy to then use. It's you are in the middle of this ritual, of this process that you're doing. So I would say no, probably not.
Okay.
So you cast Lesser Restoration on him again, and he just sort of stops and he's like, and just starts like crying with all this stuff on, with all this like blood on the side of his face, and he's been carving into the sides of his head. Yeah. What would you like to do?
So I want to cast Lesser Restoration on him again to try and restore him a little bit back to where he was. And see if he hopefully stops clawing his own head.
Yeah, he stops clawing his own head, and he's now almost like horrified at what he's sort of been doing. He just sort of like sits and curls up. He sits and he puts his hands sort of like underneath his thighs, so he can't like do anything to himself. He's like that, almost like scared of himself, and he just sort of like starts rocking back and forth on his side, like no. But he's all right for the minute. You've calmed him down.
Okay.
Are you going to start going again?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. I don't think I have anything that would work. Because everything I've got is like, it would be like double concentration to like cast something and then start trying to cast the spell. So I think whatever I tried would fail. As everything is concentration. Okay.
I can think of one spell that you might have that might help, but
I'm not sure. Yeah.
well, I don't know if
Okay, I'm gonna try. This might not work in my favor, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try and start again. But before I do,
Mm.
hopefully, like out of direct line of sight of the tree, I'm gonna cast a Guardian of Faith. And try and like put Kirabal like next to it and Kithaniel like there and like start the whole thing over again, but with this like Guardian of Faith
Yeah,
to hope.
yeah,
And in essence, it could be a protective thing if something came up, but the hope is that it'll be more of an inspirational thing for him, and having just sort of helped repair his memory a little bit, to try and help him keep focus so I can try and get this spell off in an hour.
yeah. Okay, so you cast this Guardian of Faith, this huge gold, which actually, I would say like lights up a lot of this place and makes it a little bit of a sort of warmer space for you. With
Yeah,
this
it's a large spectral guardian, hovers for the duration. It doesn't say anything about emitting light, but I imagine it would be this like
I'll say for the
golden glowing figure.
yeah.
That's like if I can, I'm trying to like dampen the glow so it's not as visually obvious, but it's still this idea. Like it's there more as a like. I'm aiming for it to be like an inspiring presence to try if he starts to lose again that he'll just hold on until I can get this done. Is like the main hope.
So you then begin to sit down in casting your Temple of the God. Roll me, I'm going to say in this large cavern with the wind swirling around the area. Roll me another con save and another whiz save.
Okay. Alright. Wisdom 31. Con save 21.
Oh, fucking hell.
Oh, I am.
Jesus.
I'm gonna die when we fight Yara now because I'm getting all the rolls here.
So you're sat there and you almost enter this like meditative state, and you were taught this by Meredith when you were younger, but you never quite got the grasp of it, and it's sort of in your age that you've managed to you're not too old for a dwarf, but in your age you've managed to sort of get what she means, especially after seeing all the shit you have in the past year, where you almost just managed to shut everything out. You almost just go like, everything's going to be okay, Apollo will guide me, all this stuff, and you enter this sort of state. And for this moment, I'll say, just because it's kind of cool, you almost like manage to shut out all these voices. And in your head, it's almost like in your head you're building this temple of the gods as you're just sat there preparing this ritual. And it's almost like, one of the things where in your head, the stone formations you can see the stone formations rising out of the ground, and all the things sort of being prepared. And roll me a d20.
Roll a d20. Come on.
Does any?
No, it's the luck of the dice.
So you're sat, and you're sort of sat preparing, and it gets to sort of about half an hour in, and you just suddenly hear this, and just and you almost like open your eye and take a peek, and you almost have a jump for a brief second as there's this wolf-like creature that's just got this like two like crazed eyes, this strange sort of like almost sack underneath its neck, and yeah. So it's got this like sack underneath its neck. It's got this sort of like smooth sort of tough gray skin, and this thing has clearly tried to get at Kirabal and Kithaniel, and it has ran into the fray to try and grab them, been hit by your thing. It can hit them as many times as it can until it deals like.
Yeah, every time something moves within its range, it triggers a dex save, and then it deals up to 60 damage in 10 or 20 chunks.
10 or 20 chunks. Well, I rolled 3 rolls for this thing, and it failed the dex save on each of them. It went for Kirabol, and then it was going to go for you. But I'll say for the sort of moment of this, so it entered the area.
Yeah.
And Guardian of Faith just swung its sword around, slash. It then pushed into the area towards Kirabol, slash. It then, you just begin hearing this like loud sort of shouting from Kirabol, and you almost like take a second to turn around as this large wolf thing is on top of Kirabol, and then the Guardian of Faith just comes over with this large sword and just sink straight through its middle and tosses it off the way. Kirabol is just sat there like, and you can just hear Kithaniel like, it's all right, it's gone, it's dead, big glowy guy got it. And in the last moments of sort of the Guardian of Faith sort of stood there, John just takes a bow before it's dealt the 60 damage and disappears. Your thing killed a howler. Good job, Guardian of Faith. Because you're a little thing wearing armor, and it was a defenseless, bigger creature. It went for Kirabol, obviously. And an hour passes by. And how does your Temple of the Gods sort of form? How does it look in this?
So it'll look probably very much on the outside like the most impressive temple I've seen, which would be the one from the capital. And inside would probably be quite similar, you know, this sort of classic church, like with like stained glass and stuff like that. To and just like an altar at one end with like pews and stuff like that, and maybe deliberately like make some space for like some bedding and like a place where things could rest.
Yeah. Okay. Oh fucking! It lasts 24 hours.
Yes, it does.
I should have looked at your spell sheet before preparing so much more of this.
Yeah, well, I wasn't sure if I'd ever find a space big enough to cast this in the tunnels.
Yeah, no, these are like huge sort of tunnels.
Yeah. But 120 feet by 120 feet is big, so I didn't, you know...
I mean, yeah,
like walking through like a 60-foot by 60-foot tunnel is big.
Yeah, but not quite, yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I was like, I'm looking for a big area. And then when you were like, it's a couple of 100 feet, I was like, the chance.
Temple opposes types of creatures you choose when they cast a spell. Choose one or more of the following. Celestials, elementals, fae, fiends, or undead. If a creature of the chosen type attempts to enter the temple, that creature must make a charisma saving throw. On the failed save, it can't enter the temple for 24 hours, even if the creature can enter the temple and magic that hinders it. Never makes an attack roll, build the check or saving throw inside the temple. It must roll a d4 and subtract the number rolled from the d20 roll. In addition, sensors created by divination spells can't enter inside the temple, and creatures can't be targeted by divination spells. Finally, whenever a creature in the temple regains hit points from the spell first level or higher, it regains additional hit points equal to your wisdom modifier. Temple is made from opaque magical force that extends into the ethereal plane, thus blocking ethereal travel into the temple's interior. Nothing can physically pass through the temple's exterior, can't be dispelled by magic, and anti-magic field has no effect on it. A disintegrate spell destroys the temple instantly. Casting this spell on the same spot for a day for a year makes the effect permanent. Damn! So
all creature types except Fae, because I have identified that Kirabol is potentially Fae.
Okie dokie. So Celestials, Elementals, Fiends, Undead, not allowed in. Nice. And and as you finish the sort of casting of the spell, Kirabol's just sat there in like wonder of this and just like, safe, and just starts sprinting towards the door, sprinting in. You can tell as running, he tries to get like a little bit more control of his wings, and there's this moment where he tries to almost like leap, hoping the wings will take him, but they can't, and so he falls.
Oh.
But he sort of
buddy.
sort of plays it off and just rolls sort of inside and runs in. And as you all would enter, the winds die down, the howling of the winds stop, and within the plane of madness of Pandemonium, you have created a temple of the gods, a safe haven against this stuff, against the madness of Pandemonium, where you may rest and recuperate for a while. And nothing can enter there.
Well, stuff could try and
Stuff
enter.
can try and enter.
So it's it's not.
Yeah, it's
not guaranteed, but
yeah,
it's generally pretty safe, I believe.
Yeah. Okay. So, one second. A long sort of time goes by. It's easily a few hours, where you just have some respite. Your ears like ringing, but they eventually sort of come to. It's not like you were deaf, but they just ringing from everything, and you just spend some time chilling out, maybe speaking to Kithaniel. Kirabal is, he's obviously not cured, but the quiet has helped him tenfold. You notice over the next couple of hours, he doesn't start going like crazy or anything anymore. He's just sat, and he does have his little moments where he gets really jittery and almost like forgets where he is. And he is visibly mad and insane, but he is at the very, very least calm, as long as you leave him in his one place where he's not doing anything and he's chilled out. Is there anything you would like to be doing in this space?
I think just like keeping a vigilant watch on the outside, making sure that I'm aware as much as I can be of any potential encroaching dangers that might come in.
Yeah.
Or might try and enter.
Yeah. So you're sort of stationed out near the front, watching and waiting for sort of things to come near. The temple of the sort of capital did have doors sort of on the sides, but each of them did have like a bar that could be sort of placed over, so obviously to lock them up. So you could obviously try locking this place up, but you maybe stood out the front or whatever, keeping a sort of fairly vigilant.
Yeah, keeping a watch for.
Yeah, a perception check.
I know I'll need to sleep at some point, but hopefully I can pass the time until then.
Yeah.
Just keep him watch.
Yeah. Okay. 22. So with the 22, you are keeping a pretty good watch, and you notice from one of these caverns a pack of similar creatures that you saw your guardian of faith earlier kill roams out, and they run sort of across the walls towards the figures that were at the very, very top, and ones towards the center. As they charge towards this space, you see the figures that were stood next to the tree, sort of on the ceiling. They're still stood there, just slightly moving, slightly swaying. And these pack creatures just run up and decimate them. They just charge and trample over them. And very quickly you begin to notice, like, there's no fighting back, no nothing. These creatures don't do anything. And these packs of wolf, like hound-like creatures just then start dragging these bodies back. And you notice then on your side, so not on the ceiling where you saw creatures, but on the side you couldn't see because of the incline of the sand, you see a couple of these sort of howler creatures grab bodies from there as well and start dragging them back towards towards this cavern that they came from. At one point, you see from one of these massive sort of places, you see a creature, a large creature with only one central eye and lots of stalks of different sort of things, and a large sort of mouth that's open and drooling, enter from one of the caverns, and it just starts bumping into a lot of things, and you notice that this one central eye is completely glazed over white. It sort of enters and starts bumping into lots of things, and because it's blind, it can't quite see you, but you can hear from here the gibbering madness that it's just dor du di kor dor, and it exits after bumping into almost everything. It finally exits into another cavern, and then you notice finally a creature walking with purpose. It wears dark armor, almost a full plate, and two large wings upon its back, feathered wings, not like Kirabol's. These are large, sort of dark feathered wings. And it holds a long, sort of gnarled wooden staff, and it's walking, clearly very, very old. And in the other hand, it has a sort of beaming bright helmet. And it's sort of stumbling and walking.
So it was wearing black armor.
Yeah, like dark. Well, yeah, like well, I'd say probably like dark gold. Like if you took gold armor and then just turned down the brightness on it.
Oh, okay. So it's like dull rather than.
Yeah, like dull, dark golden armor. Like grey robes beneath. This figure is clearly quite old. Clearly, really quite old, and it just starts sort of slowly meandering towards your.
What coloured wings are they?
They are white. Well, grey. Greyish, yeah. Some of the wings have sort of like fallen off in places and things like that. And the figure, yeah, just walks towards you with some purpose. Though with a little bit of struggle as well. Yeah, sort of within 60 feet of you. Or within like 30 feet of you and stops. You're sort of looking out at stuff. How are you looking out for things? Do you have like the door open? Like would you be or
yeah, the door would be open, but probably like if it's like a double door, it's like one just like open so I can stand in the entrance and look around. So I mean, the building's not going to be discreet, so I don't feel like I necessarily there's any benefit to me trying to hide, but I want to have a good view of at least what I can see, so it's not overly obstructed.
Yeah. So this figure sort of looks around and looks towards the door and hello, is someone there? Please, I need help. Your temple, I've never seen a temple in this place. Never. Who is anyone there?
Yeah, I will like call out and still inside, but like call out like, who are you? What do you need? Where do you come from?
Oh crap! Where'd the thing go with his name? My name is Aegir. That's Aegir, Aegir. I wondered this place for a long time. Please, would you aid a fellow servant of the gods? I see the Apollo symbol. I knew him. I could tell you of him.
Okay.
Please.
I would like to make an insight check into this person. As someone who still has their wits about them, it seems, at least for the most part. And then like a religion check to see if I can like identify what sort of being this is, as he looks,
Yeah.
at least classically angelic.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, make an insight and.
Oh, the insight is so good.
Oh, Jesus. All right. So you look at this figure, and one thought immediately sort of strikes your mind. You've heard tales of the indomitable might of beings known as solars, powerful beings that the gods, as close to a demigod as you can get. These are the most powerful angels that you will probably ever find. They, are known to have weapons that can slay a creature instantly. They are said to bring light and joy for good gods, and for bad gods, they can bring total destruction. And they have on many occasions in the world. But so too have they brought light and goodness to everything and to everything and everyone, and they help everything. They are like the generals of the gods' armies. And this definitely gives you the vibes of one of these creatures. You know the different types of angels. Devas wouldn't have that majestic armor. They are angels, but they aren't necessarily warriors. Devas are messengers of the gods, and speakers of the gods. Mm-hmm. Planetars generally have like colored skin, and this person looks humanoid and very, very beautiful. So you think, okay, this could have been some kind of solar, or someone exceptionally tall humanoid that looks like they were once very beautiful with massive angel wings. I mean, yeah, that's commonly going around. Mm-hmm. And you get this insight, and you rolled a 31. So you look at them, and there's a hint of like, oh wow, an angel. I must let them in. They say they know Apollo. It's an angel, Of course they must know Apollo. They're a good thing. I should surely let them in. Then you look at the dark armor, and you look at just a few bits about them, and there's just something off about this whole thing. Why the hell is a solar trapped in a plane where things get exiled? Trapped in a plane of madness. Why is it here? Why is it grown old here? And you also would notice a holy symbol upon it, of which you do not recognize. Actually, make another religion check.
Okay.
No, you do not recognize the holy symbol that's sort of upon the chest of the sort of armor piece. But there's definitely something. There's something off about this whole thing. You can't quite put your finger on. But yeah.
Yeah, I'll point out the holy symbols and kind of bluntly to be like, your holy symbol, I do not recognize it.
I was a warrior of a god long lost. How long have you been here? What is the year of where you are from? I could tell you the story, the story of my patron. His name was Helm. He was my servitor. I was his servant. Please let me in, and we can. I will tell you of him, of his goodness, his greatness. Maybe we can help each other.
A god called Helm.
Helm. I'll say with that information, you can make another religion check.
Okay. Do I know anything about Helm? Possibly.
Swum around a couple of times. There's something about Helm and the god Talos that you can't quite remember. Actually, roll again. I'll say that because with Kithaniel would be with you, and he knows a lot. He would be.
Kithaniel knows a lot.
Yeah, Kithaniel knows a lot. You're sort of sat there with your 14, like, Helm. I feel like I recognize that. And Kithaniel's like, the parable of Helm, of course. And you're like, yes. And you remember it was a story that Meredith told you like only once. Maybe she wasn't really into the whole parables thing, or not really into those sort of parables to teach stories. She was more into just learn this lesson.
Yes.
But she did tell you a parable of the god Helm. Now he was once the god of protection, god of protection, god of guardians, god of protectors. But it is a parable of Helm because it is about his fall. And basically tell a parable about doing your duty and don't let anything distract you, because he was once in love. Well, he had like no weaknesses, no nothing. And he was told to watch a specific place, a place where they knew the demons were going to come from. Now the god Mask, a old god of trickery who was replaced by Dolus, really hated Helm. Really hated Helm because Helm would always call him on his shit and stop his pranks and things like that before he could do them. So he wanted to get some payback. So he tried to think, what are Helm's weaknesses? Well, he has none. He's the god of protection. He is the protector of Celestia. He has no weaknesses except for one. He is madly in love with the goddess Nilia, goddess of the hunt. But Nilia has refused his love. Because of their duty to the gods. So what will I do? I will disguise myself as Nilia, profess my love to him, and see if I can make him leave his watch. Just for shits and giggles, get him in a bit of trouble. So he does. And this, it takes a lot of time, but eventually this works, and Helm leaves his guard. And after leaving his guard, the demons came in and attacked Celestia. Many smaller gods and demigods were killed in the battle. The demons were dealt with, and Helm was eventually found, living a new life as a mortal, or like as a fake mortal with the fake Nilia, with Mask. Mask could create duplicates of himself and change his form so he could appear in the court of the gods and in Celestia, and also have a fake Nilia who's spending a life with Helm. And Helm was banished from Celestia, and replaced by the god Talos, who Davyak has taken up an oath to protect this plane from any extraplanar things. So it's a thing about, having a duty and sticking to that duty and making sacrifices for that duty, when you're told to do something by the gods, do it. Whether love gets in your way or anything, no matter how much you want to, there is a higher cause and a higher purpose than your wants and needs and things like that. And yeah, you recognize that now. And if he served Helm, that must mean that he's one of the angels that Helm brought down here. This must have been where Helm was exiled. And therefore, this is maybe one of the Solars who was loyal to Helm and came down here with him in his exile. So this guy has been here thousands of years, maybe hundreds of thousands of years. Well, more like thousands of years. And that almost makes you trust him less, because how is someone, even an angel, how are they here and not driven mad? and as okay as he is.
Parable of Hell. I remember this. Yeah, just sort of like call down the steps to him where he is at the bottom. He's like, I remember the Parable of Hell. What led you to fall in it to this place as well?
I was with my god Helm when he was exiled. He has passed. I am the last of his angels that remain. The last remnant of a fallen god. You must have some sympathy for that. Please, aid me. And I can give you items and show you paths. We can help each other.
Why are you trapped here? Do you not have
Part
the power to leave?
Part of the exile of Helm was that we were trapped here. Exiled here for his misdeeds. But I have not the power to transport myself away. But maybe you could help me. If you've got here, are you able to leave? To get away?
I was brought here by a poor decision. I do not know if I can transport myself away. I have companions to look out for. How is it you have not been driven mad? One of my companions is mad. I myself feel the tinge of madness after less than a day here. If you have been here so long, and even your god has fallen, what has protected you?
That is not important. What is important is that we be quick. I have seen portents and visions. Your world is in danger. We must get back. If you are not able to get back, maybe I could just rest in your temple for a time, please. And he just starts like walking up the steps, like slowly getting towards you. Like, please, just a place to rest, just for a moment, is all I ask.
So, rest on the steps here, and I will continue to keep watch.
He's looking, but the wind, you would deny a servitor of Helm. He would deny us, then kill him. No, don't kill him, he's innocent. Kill him. No, I wouldn't do that. And he just starts talking to himself, and he just like with his wings charges towards you. What would you have to do?
I would like to try and slam the door in his face as he comes up the steps.
Yep, make a strength check.
Okay. Strength. That's a strength save. Just a strength check.
Yep. Oh, 18. Pretty good. So what happens if they... I'm just looking at the spell temple to gods, and I'm just trying to figure out what... on a failed save, it can't enter the temple for 24 hours. Right, okay. So, 18. You manage to slam the door in his face, but he just rams against the door. This is nothing. And just like, with like, almost like draws a weapon, lifts it, and slams the door. The door immediately just smashes open, and you're stood before this creature who, this large solar creature who's clearly weakened a lot. They no longer have, if their god's dead, they must not have a lot of the power they once had. But he stands before you. I tried. You are no aid of the gods. and he just takes a step in, and he's got. So that's a 2.
Well, I'm hoping he doesn't have a big save to.
Here's a +10.
Okay, that's a big save, but that's not enough.
So this guy walks in, and I mean, how do you see your temple like essentially ejecting him from this space?
I would see it as like a wall of force or something like that. So there's just like there's now essentially like an invisible barrier to him over the entrance.
Yeah.
So he would just like try and come inside and just I'd probably like back up in fear of this huge, solar being.
Yeah.
Whose power levels I have heard rumors of, and then just like start like preparing the first spell that comes to mind, and then he's just like blocked as he's trying to actually.
He goes to take a step like, and he just like this almost like golden sheen ripples out from his foot where it goes to take a step in, and he just what? No, boing, boing, starts smacking and whacking it with all the might of his weapons. From just all parts of his body, he just starts like conjuring weapons, like from he just like opens his hand and a massive battle axe comes down. And then suddenly the battle axe changes form into a massive greatsword and he tries stabbing it. And then a huge spear and he tries stabbing it again. And then he just conjures this large longbow. And as he draws just the string back, a golden arrow of light just appears and fires and it just shatters against the door of this place. And, oh, nah! He just screams out into this huge cavern. At which point, from outside, you can see just behind him figures moving. He's like, no, not you again. No. And he just starts running away. And from the inside of your temple, you can just see this large pack of these creatures, these howling, gibbering, wolf-like creatures that don't like howl as they, it's not like a wolf's howl. It's more like a wolf's howl that goes into a really supersonic, high-pitched screech. And they just start rushing after this creature, completely ignoring your building, your everything, and just start sprinting past towards him. And he disappears. You are left alone. For the sake of brevity, the time continues in the maddening plain. And after a little while, you decide it's best I bunker down and get some rest. Is there any sort of defenses you'd like to try and put up or anything like that?
I would like to. I'm going to use 2 4th level spell slots again to cast 2 more like Guardians of Faith. I'm going to put 1 like by the door and like 1 by where we're resting.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm gonna use another 2nd level lesser restoration on Karabal as I'm going to sleep to just try and hopefully with the situation being what it is, he'll be all right. But just give him a quick like. And I kind of recognize this is basically like just applying a fresh bandage to a wound. Like lesser restoration is just the is just the triage, not the fix long term.
Yeah, exactly. And he seems okay for a while, and Kithaniel just says, I'll scream at him, at you if he starts acting
thank you
jibbery and all that stuff. You get some rest. Let's get you some rest and then let's get out of here. And for the sake of brevity, because you've made some pretty good preparations, I'll say even if something were to come into your temple, your Guardians of Faith would have handled it. Maybe another sort of roaming pack of these creatures come in, but they are dealt with outside. Or like 1 or 2 of these creatures come in, but they're dealt with pretty easily outside. You do sort of get almost like slightly awoken again by a a returning solar creature who comes and just starts like pushing at the front of the thing for a little while, almost in a crazed manner before he just disappears off again. And then, you have your dreams that in this place, in this maddening plane, are just crazy. Like, imagine the most insane thing Doc could ever possibly think of. And at one part of your dream, you almost return to the ball. And in this ball, it's just everyone's laughing, smiles literally either side of their face, like abnormally big. And people are dancing just around you. And you can see Balzanor and Griffin and Galahad and Artemisa and Moraine and all these figures that you've met. You can see like the head of the Great Talon just being carried by Damien. And each of them are all like smiling and laughing as they swirl around you in this ever-present thing. And you can hear a familiar grating voice of Yara just sort of in the background as you're just swirling around this dream. But you do eventually wake up. You've had a long rest. What would you like to do?
I would like to change some prepared spells.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get rid of that one and get rid of that one and prepare that one and that one. So I'm gonna prepare. Yeah, I'm just changing some spells. So I'm gonna prepare Plane Shift.
Yep.
Get all my spell slots and lovely stuff back from a long rest. And then I am going to attempt to Plane Shift home.
Okie dokie. You begin the thing for plane shift, holding the hand of Kirabol and Kithaniel sort of in one hand, and you begin to plane shift. And as you sort of start sort of shifting through this plane, you begin to notice sort of like and almost like angelic sort of choirs singing around you, and this silvery, goldy light sort of starts appearing. And you begin to notice yourself sort of plane shifting, holding Kithaniel. He's shifting too, but Kirabol isn't. And you almost feel in this moment your hand just slips through his as you are sucked down into sort of the realm. And when you appear, where would you like to appear? You can choose a specific place with plane shift.
The Temple of Apollo back in the capital.
Yeah. You appear back in the Temple of Apollo. It's still dark out. You've sort of appeared really early morning. And you look around you, and Kirabol is nowhere to be found.
No, my friend.
Kirabol had been tricked and was bound to the plane of Pandemonium by this prince that stuck in there. And as you arrive in this place,
well, now I have a new mission.
And as you arrive in this place, you just hear dung, 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 dung. Bells tolling. Look around, there's people running through the streets. It's way too early for people to be running through the streets. And then overhead, you just see this smash against the walls of the capital. You've arrived at quite an opportune time.
Oh, no.
Now let's play some games.
Yay. Oh, that was great, but... I'm so heartbroken. I made a friend.
I know, I'm sorry. I wrote his thing, and yeah, he was tricked by a Fey Prince into going there, and he wasn't allowed to return to his Fey Prince. He was basically bound to that plane for 1 year, so that his Fey Prince. His Fey Prince basically wanted to see what true madness looked like.
Oh,
So he's all there for a year.
what a dick.
I know, right? They are assholes.
Well, where's that spear? I need to go back.
Oh, I did not. Yeah, I didn't see the whole Temple of the Gods thing coming. That was, I mean, fair fucking play. And you got so lucky with that roll. Like, I'll admit, obviously, I didn't put a solar up against you.
Yeah.
That is a 21 creature. That would have fucked you up. It was the equivalent of something a lot.
Something
Very,
actually
very
manageable.
Yes, something very, very much dumb.
Yeah, if you were trying to kill me, you'd have just killed me.
Yeah, exactly. Wouldn't have even. I literally, because like they've got a bow. I don't know if you've read the Solar stat block, but they've just got, it's like a bow of slaying. If they hit it, you either take fuck tons of damage, or well, you have to make a con save, and if you fail, you just die.
Nice.
You just drop to 0, and if you pass, you just take fucking tons of damage. That's probably going to drop you to 0 anyway.
Excellent.
Yes, but I hope you enjoyed that little drift into
that
the
was
rough.
good. I mean, that took a little while, so I'm glad we got that done.
I did take a
not impeding everyone else, because it was like an hour and a half, and so I'm glad it didn't spend an hour and a half of the next session.
Yeah, realizing that it was just us two, I did embellish a couple of little bits on it, just for the fun of it, and realized I could make this a little bit more of an experience. But
that's all good. It's nice to be able to do that, and I shall tell my story. Well,
indeed,
after a big battle, I guess.
Yes.
Oh
indeed.
no, hold on. Before I forget, I need to knock off that 7th level spell slot for the battle I'm about to run into.
That you do.
Well, I'm excited to see what happens. I'm also excited to see what happens at this ball. So,
as am I. Yes, that should be interesting.
Yeah. I'm going to grab a quick bit of food, and I'll see you online in like 10-15 minutes for some.
Yeah, sounds good. I was going to do the same thing. So, see you on.